Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Monday, April 19th, 2021, post-market wrap-up, and we do have to talk. Let's start off with the markets, okay? So what happened today? The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ fell under some pressure today. Okay, so freaking what? Just this past Friday, the market hit new record highs. If you notice, we've seen a pattern here for months. Whenever we get a record high, the next trading day, the market seems to pull back a little bit. That's bullish. You have to understand that. When the market goes up, you get a little bit of a pullback, usually tends to another leg higher. That's how they work. That's how these markets work. And to me, looking at the performance of other assets, number one, 10-year yield, 1.59. Perfect for this market where we're sitting. The dollar right now got hit pretty good. The weaker dollar, as we all know, stock market positive. Takes more weaker dollars to buy anything, even shares of stock. Hold that thought. We have to talk a little bit about that. Crude oil today got bid higher. The unholy trinity, people. The debt market, the 10-year yield more specifically, the dollar weak, and crude oil. That is a prime recipe in this environment of endless, and I mean that, endless, easy money. Well, it's going to push the market higher. There's no doubt about it. But the market is concerned about something. What is that thing? Okay, let's talk about that thing. We're finding out now that these mega corporations are going to be passing on their higher costs to you. They're not going to be absorbing them. They're passing them on to consumers. So the concern here for the market is, okay, hold on a minute. Can the consumer handle it? Can the consumer absorb higher prices? We're already seeing the reflection of this via the weaker dollar, via inflation, the dollar losing purchasing power. Now, the consumer is going to be contending with corporations who will not be absorbing extra costs. No, no, no. You will. You will. It's always the same story. Did you think it was going to be any different this time? So for the consumer here, there are two concerns. Number one, the dollar losing its purchasing power, pinching everybody. Number two, these companies now who are planning to raise prices. Coca-Cola was the last company today to come out and say they will be raising prices to you. So the concern for the market is, how will the consumer react? The consumer today is hurting, despite the fact that we're being double fist fed, that we're in an economic boom. We are in a super recovery right now. It's incredible. It's great. We're just, it's wild. But again, it's all fake. It's all propaganda. And I mean, it's in your face, period, the freaking end. So with that said, and I want to touch on that a minute more, let's cover a few other things here. Gold and silver, despite the dollar getting hit today, did fall under pressure. Cryptocurrencies today, flat to slightly lower. Okay, I don't give a damn. You know how I feel about this. I do believe this is a buying opportunity. I think every dip with regard to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, all the big ones, any dip should be bought in this environment. We know why we're doing this. We understand the effect here on the dollar cratering. You want to stay in the dollar or no? You like the dollar? Why would you want to be in the dollar right now? You should be seeking alternatives. Okay, obviously gold, physical gold, obviously physical silver. More obviously, it's my favorite of all time. And cryptocurrencies, or you can choose to stay in the dollar, which is a dying asset by design. You know that, okay? That's where we stand with those things here, people. But again, let's touch again back on the dollar for a moment and the consumer and the concern of the market, because that's really what the market is trying to absorb here. As a market participant, okay, that's my mindset. And I talk to everybody, you know that. So the concern is, can the consumer handle extra, more bills, paying more for everything? And I think the general consensus is they're going to have no choice. And they're going to just deal with it. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to go in this environment here. So, but if you think about it, you're getting hit with a 1-2 punch. Dollar losing purchasing power, and now companies that are going to be raising prices. So you can only imagine what this means. Let's say in a few months from now, go out, go shopping, go buy food or anything else. It's going to start to get really, really ugly here. We are not in an economic recovery whatsoever. Debts and deficits continue to explode, but the lie that we are in a recovery of some type will continue to be propagated. As a matter of fact, it's going to get louder. They're going to parade out people on these financial channels to tell you that, again, what you're seeing is not real. And they're going to do it with a straight face. They're going to sit there and say, oh, the American economy, we're just absolutely fantastic. The workers, they're doing great here. Oh, they can deal with it. Again, it's all a mechanism here to keep up some type of a twisted illusion. And some people, I guess, are going to buy it. But by and large, I think I would hope people are understanding that nothing is what it seems, number one. And number two, and I hate to say it, I really, really do. They're getting worse. Things are going to get worse with regard to the dollar losing purchasing power, and with companies now promising to raise prices. So it's going to be hard for people because, incomes are not rising, okay? They're not keeping up, not even close to the actual rate of inflation. So people are systematically being robbed blind by design. The Federal Reserve artificially suppressing rates. They have created a slave society. More stimulus checks are coming here. But again, the market is concerned. How are the people going to deal with it? Let me ask all of you, and please place a comment here. Is it going to make your life harder having to deal with a dollar losing purchasing power and companies raising prices? Or are you just going to be able to carry on like nothing ever happened? Me personally, I think people are going to struggle harder. And this is also by design. They need people to suffer. They, meaning the central planners. Who are the central planners? Well, it's the central banks. The banks have all of this. Everything we're seeing right now and what's coming, it's already planned. It's all ready to roll out little by little, but they must keep pressure on the people. They have to cause people to hurt in order to get the same people to demand change. You understand? It's the same scenario. Problem, reaction, solution. So the problem here must manifest itself worse. Getting the average guy and the average girl here to suffer, to not be able to make ends meet or struggle to do so they can depend on the government to provide for them. That's all this is. So the mechanism here of the dollar cratering, companies passing on higher costs to you, is working exactly as it's supposed to do by the central planners. The central banks are the central planners. It's, again, the government that they throw in front of our face is not the government. Okay, they're just a freak show. Okay, the real government is the central banks. The real government, the central banks, are pulling the strings. They're deciding where we go, where the economy goes, where the market goes, where the population goes, the haves, the have-nots, the creation of this slave society dependent on government. It should be very evident to you. If you've been following my work for any length of time, this should make absolute sense to you. Okay, so in summary, real quick, market did really not too much. A little pressure here on the major indices, but again, Friday, new record highs for the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500. Okay, the setup here is for the market to continue higher. I still believe that, despite the fact that people are going to hurt by design. Okay, the dollar cratering in value, companies planning on raising their costs, passing them on to you, passing on rising costs onto you. Lovely. Okay, but the central banks are not going to stop. The central planners have this all figured out. They're going to flood the market with more cash. They're going to devalue that dollar to keep the stock market propped up. Again, it takes more weaker dollars to buy anything, even shares of stock. You got to be on the opposite side of that trade. You got to be getting out of the dollar, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, period, the end. Take advantage of everything around you, people. I don't know another way to put it. Take advantage of this. And be sure to follow, the unholy trinity. Crude oil, the dollar, and the 10-year yield. It's all set up for you right here on my website, traderschoice.net, top of the second page. Take advantage of it. And again, take advantage of that chat room. And I was happy to see a lot of you calling out the scammer, because the scammer is out, pretending to be me, responding to questions as if it's me, saying, oh, you want to really make money? Well, why don't you get in touch with me on WhatsApp or whatever it might be? It's a scammer. My picture, my name, but without a black bubble around it. That's a scammer. So call him out and get him out of here. All right. This guy here loves you a lot. I think this has been an important video. Please share it, ponder these things, and think about what the central planners have planned for you. I'm out of here.